Love my baby loves me. I love my baby. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And this bird you cannot change. It's like I always say, wah, wah. VPN. I think it's got a lot of spyware. Probably this one too. $50,000. Oh. What's up, Skirg? And this bird you cannot change. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, shit. Congratulations. And this bird you cannot. Okay. Okay. Well, congratulations, dude. That's a pretty big deal. How do you feel? You feel good? Feel happy? Yeah, that's a pretty big moment. You only graduate, well, once or twice. And this bad you cannot change. Okay, how does that look? Yeah, it looks pretty clean. A little bit too close, though. Better. Better. Yeah, man. Huge deal, dog. I know on my graduation, I felt so good. I bet you feel so good right now. Like, the guy who spoke at the graduation, you know, the keynote, he was like, today you're going to feel like you got shot out of a rocket. And that's totally how I felt. Totally how I felt. It felt like I was shot out of a rocket. Let me do one more thing. Oh, you down? Such good vibes. When was the ceremony today? It was like literally like earlier this morning, like you just got out of it. 11 a.m. this morning. Okay, so yeah. Oh, okay, so yeah, very quick. Wow. Any festivities? Did anything else go down? Anything else go down? Like, did you do anything to celebrate with wife or family or anything? Put some music on. Fucking wild, dude. Graduation, yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Pretty big deal. How long did it take you from start to finish? How long was the program? Go. Oh shit, they're not even on. And this burn. Alright, let's try that. Let's see. Is that on? 1 year, 5 months? Awesome, man. Very, very cool. Congratulations. Okay. Almost set up here. Took me a while. It always takes me a while to get set up. Got a busy day today. We'll give the homie Skirg a spinning Claudette to celebrate. And a Rust. Congratulations. Alright, let me let's get all of this stuff set up. I gotta get YouTube in the right spot. And iTerm 2 is up. Okay, so we'll get that going. Put that there. That looks clean. All right, so that's the preview. We'll keep that up. How's the sound? No sound. Let's fix that. Okay, that should be coming through. Took a second to get set up, but here we are. Let me lower the volume a tad. Got the baseball game on right now. My team just fell behind. Well, let's talk about some comp sci. So, Clipception. Clipception's been live for about a month. Last week, somebody made a PR and I merged it in. So we've got our first official contributor, which is very cool. 2 forks last week. Very, very pleased about that. This is, I'm gonna talk about what we got for Clips. So this is the website, clipception.xyz. I'm gonna share the GitHub in the chat in a second here. Let me pull it up right now. And I got a bunch of stuff I'm gonna run through. Let me just get a little bit of a setup here. Let me throw this in. So I'll pin this in here. I'll pin it for, I guess, 40 minutes. Or maybe an hour. I'll pin it for an hour. Okay, so Clipception, we merged in a commit last week. Now, yesterday, this was, I just want to say this like out loud. It's been very, I've been all over the place, right? Like in terms of structure for the stream. Now, the primary reason for that is because, and most of you guys know this, I am interviewing right now for roles. And because of that, it just zaps so much of my energy. Like, for example, tomorrow I have my first technical interview with Suno at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. And so it just zapped so much of my energy to prep, right? Like, time I would have normally spent, for example, writing my weekly blog, I didn't spend. So every week I've been writing a blog and I've been pretty good about it. And so let's start there because it's interesting. All right, so every week I've been writing a little blog and I'm really happy with these. They're really cool. And also, like, you can tell, like, the people I'm interviewing with in particular, the one that stands out is Suno. They're reading them, so that's cool. It's cool to create something, and so employers, prospective employers, can get a feel for who you are as an engineer. So I do recommend that as a way to interface with the world at large. Some of the articles have done better than others. Some of these have thousands of views. I think both these two. This one didn't do as well. You could even see in the reactions, but nonetheless, like, people are still reading it, still in the hundreds. So, and also, like I said, Suno read it. So I'm very happy. I think it's a very good thing to do. I would love to do a weekly video via YouTube. It's just that I'm so slow at creating videos. And I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy editing videos or anything of that nature. So it's one of those things where it does serve me well to do a blog. All this to say, look, I'm right in the middle of securing this next role. In fact, I have Suno is top of my charts, as you guys know, but I also have a second interview this week at just a remote software engineering role that I think would complement my life well. Let me just put it that way. It's the first company I submitted a resume to like 10 days ago. And so I did the first interview last week and I have the final round this week. So I could wrap up that offer shortly, which would just be nice to have in the back pocket. And actually, there are some attractive things about it. It's just like when you're selecting your role, you got to put all of this stuff into play. And for me, it's kind of like two big things. It's either I get a role that I can easily work, make a little bit of money, but keep moving forward. What up, Didge? How you doing, homie? Moving forward with my life, or like go balls in, like with Suno, right? Like, you know, where it is in fact a lead role, which will occupy most of the time. So I'm kind of torn between those two realities right now. But suffice to say, either way, I'm just very tapped. It's requiring a lot of energy. So I wasn't able to write a blog, right? But what I did was yesterday, I did get set up. So I didn't get my weekly blog done, and I'm probably not going to get it done anytime soon because I have so much stuff going on. Let me just try to articulate one thing real quick. So yesterday I did, might as well just open it up. So yesterday I did this. Here, let me just share this portion of the screen with you guys. Not that one. There it is. All right, so yesterday I had I used to be a very active reader of Harvard Business Review. I still think it's a good publication. I haven't read it like religiously. I read one article. They asked me to be like a reviewer, like not in a meaningful sense, not like an editor sense, but as a user reviewer, maybe about 2 years ago. So I get a free article if I review or answer like a survey. They give me a free article. So I still do on occasion read. I probably read like 2 articles in the last year. Very, very few, but I've read some. But I used to read it religiously. And so for the next, what I think would be a really fun project. Now I have some here, like how these reviews work from business schools is they usually do a quarterly. So it usually comes out 4 times a year. Now Harvard or HBS, Harvard Business School, is the most famous. So it does appear like it's more monthly. But like, for example, UC Berkeley, their business, their Haas School of Business, I believe it's called. I used to subscribe to their review, and that would come out every 4 months. Now, when in the reviews, generally speaking, you just get academic articles published from that department. So you're kind of at the frontier of what people, at least historically, certainly 10 years ago, it's hard to say precisely today, what academics are at least exploring. I like the topic of business, particularly for the reviews. You get a sense of, who's hiring, what they're hiring for, what technologies they're using. But the computer science stuff is good too. When we do the news aggregator, I want to find a good way to articulate all of this stuff. What technologies are companies using? Who's raised money? What should you know? What can you know that will best serve you today and as far in the future as possible? And that's kind of the framework from which I was going to write this week's article. Now, of course, I didn't write it. So on the one hand, it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't write the article, but here was the plan. The plan was one of these business reviews, and I believe it's I can't say which. I'm gonna have to go through, and I was thinking maybe I could do that from an automated perspective. It might be in 10 must reads, but in one of these, it'll have an article, and this is an article. The point of the story is effectively I read this article, like I said, used to read it religiously, and the article was talking about how blockchain is gonna, and, this is why they call it Web3, was gonna be as instrumental as was Web 2.0. Effectively adding APIs or CRUD to the internet, and in the rise of AWS. The large effect that Web 2.0 had, they were saying in one of these articles on this desktop is where they talk about what Web 3 is going to do. And in effect, they were saying things like, you're going to treat the blockchain much like you would interface with a web server, right? Not a website server, but like an AWS. So that's kind of like the main takeaway I had from it. So this whole time, and in the article, if I could find it, maybe we can just see real quick. I haven't looked through all of them, but one of these articles, and I don't know which one it is, one of these is going to say something to that effect. It's going to say, well, the blockchain is not at the pinnacle today, and this is written in 2017, 2018. In 10 years, it will be. It will be much like Web 2.0 was in terms of just completely restructuring how we interact with software. Now, that hasn't happened. So I think that would be a great article if I can get to the point where I can find it among all of these Harvard Business Review articles. If I could find it, I think that would be a great article. Just talking about like something to the effect of like Harvard gets it wrong, and talking about how like this was a very influential article for me. I read that article and I was really anticipating the blockchain to take off, and it didn't. So I was thinking I would do an article like that, couple it with my work with Solana. And so for those of you who haven't seen, not that one. Those of you who haven't seen, I did Bullet Solana, and so Bullet Solana is not up right now, but it's a Solana wallet. It interacts with the Solana blockchain, right? So how it works, in effect, it generates. I might even have an example. So yeah, right here, this is great. So this is I actually still have it installed. So this is the wallet. You can generate a seed. You can generate a wallet, or either through a 12-word seed or just using the Solana Web3 library. And after you generate it, and we can just do that real quick, it should be working because this is a static state. So here are 12 words that are used to seed the wallet, and then you can generate a seed pair. And so there you go. We have a wallet. This, in effect, means you have a wallet. Like the blockchain, the mathematics, and the one-way functions are so specific such that if you generate a key independent of the blockchain, with almost 100% certainty, I believe the words used were something to the effect of it's almost impossible or something like impossible for the key you generate independent of the blockchain to be already used on the blockchain. Because it's using like base 56 for one, never mind all the crypto algorithms that, most of which I probably only know very little about, but it's using base 56 to encode the data. So it's very unlikely, I think the words were effectively impossible, that the key you generate for the wallet, in this case, E0, and so on, will already exist. So how the wallet works, how this project works, is it generates your wallet key, and then now the question is, how do you get on the blockchain? And the answer to that is actually quite simple. It goes on the blockchain. You don't instantiate, so you don't run like if you were using Web 2.0, you would run a create command, right? Like create this record. It doesn't work like that. Instead, how it works is you generate the wallet, and then it gets placed on the blockchain when it's needed. So there's no, like, let's say, artificial or arbitrary interfaces with the blockchain. If the wallet is funded, is the most common example, or payment is made to it, right? However it functions, like, practically in terms of funding, transfer, receiving, that's when it'll appear on the blockchain. So that's what Bullet Solana does. I do want to finish it off because it is not finished. This part is finished in effect with the exception of the appearance. But it does generate a key successfully, and I do have a lot of these features done. It's just there's a huge problem, right? And now I'm going to explain the problem as best I can. Creating code for a Chrome extension sucks. Really, really sucks. There's a lot of reasons why, but basically you are dependent on the static site generation, and it is the hot reloading. All of this stuff is very annoying. Never mind like the actual UI or the presentation of it. So this is popup.js. So you have to have like, how you interface with the application. You have to have an entry point that's going to look like a pop-up. Or is a pop-up effectively. I do have a better example here. This was the first version. And I think when I revisit Wallet, I want to use this original version and take in the Solana. So originally, yeah, you can see it was designed for Ethereum, but in effect, they're both the structure of both blockchains are with this what's called an RPC layer, the layer in which you interface with the blockchain. It's going to be the same. You just change the endpoint, but effectively the technology or the interface, the architecture is the same. So I think to finish up this wallet, and I don't know when this is going to happen, I think what I want to do is I want to take the original version of Wallet, which you guys are looking at, and alter the code so that it interfaces with the Solana blockchain, and so that it uses, for example, when it uses web apps, right, HTML files, rather than in-modal interactivity, because this in-modal stuff blows. It sucks, right? Like, there's nothing fun about working on these extensions. And so, like, when I was streaming my work on the Solana crypto wallet, the Chrome extension, I was getting constantly bogged down by stuff that's just no fun. And so, on stream, I don't want to be debugging build errors, for example, which happen frequently with the static site generation. I was frequently debugging build errors. And so, because my life is very crazy right now in terms of like professional commitments and personal travels, which I'll talk about in a second, it's just not a really good time to work on Wallet. So I'd like to. So how did I get here? So the long and short of it is, I wasn't able to get a blog done this week, which sucks. But when I do write the blog, which should be before I leave to Japan, I want to write it on how Harvard Business Review gets it wrong. Just this idea of, okay, we want to create media that matters, right? Like content that people consume, and it's not just like, H3 podcast did something bonehead, like what's actual content that people can use. I still want people to have fun and so forth, but I want to create content that's meaningful, that people read and they get something out of it. And I think it'd be really cool to share some of these, these are pretty smart people writing these Harvard Business Review articles, just to compare with their predictions with reality. And when it comes to Web3, the reality, in my opinion, from where I sit, it doesn't look like it's a type, it certainly replaced Web2. I think that's, you can say almost a priori. It is a fact, effectively, that the blockchain or Web3 did not replace Web2. So what you'll hear from people when you talk about this, they'll say most of what you can accomplish with Web3, you can accomplish with Web2. You'll hear these type of responses, but what you won't hear is somebody say that Web3 has supplanted or usurped Web2 as the main force, as the main driving force behind the internet. So that's I think a really important, real important point, and not something I'm going to answer in terms of, well, this is why, or here's why I think that happened. Just to point out that like there was from a personal experience, there was a huge expectation for working on the blockchain in short order. Remember, this is about 10 years ago. This article was written in 2017. So we're about 10 years, about at the point with the article predicted, and we're not really that close, at least from what I can see. So my evidence of that is, in fact, I did work on this project, and working on the blockchain is still very easy. It's just almost all the applications you see, what are called dApps or decentralized applications, they're all surrounding finance, in effect. It might be something where there was just so much money that all the development efforts went towards fulfilling the demand for cryptocurrency and crypto decentralized applications, that it just neglected any of these, let's say, more basic software that is required for supplanting Web2. It might be that the technology cost is just too substantial to support the Web3. It's not 100% obvious to me why, and the purpose of the article won't be to unpack that. Instead, it'll just point out one, an advertisement for the application I wrote, Wallet, but also to kind of put in perspective that we have, many years of digital predictions, and let's just see how well those line up with reality. So that's the backstory. I'm leaving Japan on Tuesday. I'll be gone for 10 days, so I'll make a note in Discord, but I won't be streaming at all. I might post pictures, might do stuff like that, but in terms of like streaming, there will be no streaming for at least 10 days. So if you guys need to hit me up, I will be available on Discord or email or LinkedIn or any of the other places, but I won't be available, on stream. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for that trip though. It should be fun, man. It should be a fun trip. The tournament itself is this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Excuse me, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, I'm excited. It'll be cool to see what it's like to be present at, because I was at EVO in Vegas last July. So that's whenever I found out about EVO Japan. So it is very cool to be a part of, EVO 2025 in Japan. So something I not necessarily always dreamed of, but something I found out about recently, and it just sounded like a blast. So I'll let you guys know how that all works out. I mentioned my professional, kind of engagements. I do have the final round, or first part of the technical interview tomorrow with Suno, and I have other professional requirements this week. But I hope to wrap up an offer in short order here. It is a very quick process, FYI. If you are ready, if you're built, if you have time, and you can get a job in software engineering. It seems like. Now I haven't gotten an offer, but there's plenty of opportunity out there, and it's not. A lot of people would tell me like, "Oh, it's so hard to get a job," and I think they were trying to compare it to how it was in 2023, or pretty much the entire history of computer science before recently, which was in effect you could just have a LinkedIn profile and some of your GitHub, and you would get asked if you want to work somewhere. That doesn't seem to exist anymore. Nobody hits me up, in the same way. Like, you do have to like look for it. But having said that, if you look for it, there's plenty of work there, and a wide range of different frameworks. There's a lot of opportunity out there. So it is different. It's not a situation where you can just sit back and wait for people to come to you. It doesn't seem like that. Maybe if you created something like super, super awesome, but it would probably have to be AI related. Oh yeah, Digital, we haven't talked for a while. So I created, I don't know if you know this, but about 10 days ago, I created this application right here. It's called Resume Tailor. How Resume Tailor works is you put in a job you're interested in, right? You add it here. And so let's just pick a job. I'll just demo it real quick because I don't think you had a chance to see it. This was a really cool I'm surprised Fathom I didn't hear from him, because I thought I was a pretty good fit for that role. Let's see if we can't find a role. Yeah, there we go. So you put the role in here. I had to do an interview for Fathom. That shit was funny as hell. I actually did not like a interview one-on-one. It was like a recorded interview. Okay, so you hit summarize here. So you just put the job description in, and it'll tell you all the a summary of the requirements. And I'll show you just a couple more features, and then I'll elaborate a little bit on what the experience was like. So I started this 9 days ago. I think my first application was on a Thursday. So you put it in here. It's used DeepSeek to summarize the requirements, and then you go ahead and you can click missing. You'll find all the experiences that they're asking for that you may or may not have. And so just make sure that you hit all these points. It's pretty good, and it depends what model you use. So yeah, I don't have experience fine-tuning models. This is for an AI engineer role, so some of this makes sense. This is not true. So what I would do, for example, it says that my resume doesn't include experience prototyping, but I do have that experience. Plenty of that one, actually. So all you do is you go to skills management, and then you add a new skill, pick a company that you had worked for, write the skill out, hit save, and then rerun the missing, and you try to optimize it, right? So you want to capture every skill that you have that you've done at an organization. You want to make sure that your resume accounts for that. And then when you're ready, you hit generate, and then it'll generate a markdown file with your resume. So that's the background. And so I've applied for maybe 10 to 12 roles, and it's pretty high. I mean, there's roles out there like getting work is no problem. Getting work is no problem. You will get interviews, etc. There's plenty of work, but it doesn't seem like before they'd come to you. It doesn't seem like that's true anymore. If you want to work for somebody, I mean, you may not want to work for somebody. Here's my story. My situation is such that I need income, dog. I have a mortgage, things of that nature. So I'm going to keep, I'm not going to stop streaming or anything like that. I'm going to keep my stream, going, but I do need to have income so I can invest in the stream. Like, for example, I launched Clipception, and with Clipception is awesome, except I can't put more than 5 users in the app because I can't afford the AWS. You know what I mean? Like, nothing you create is going to be free to deliver. So everything I create has a supporting cost, a delivery cost. Everything costs money. Even using Open Router costs money. So I need some sort of income. Also for hardware, I'd love to run a GPU cluster at the house. So when we stream, we'll have access to a GPU cluster. Even people who come to my chat can use it. You know what I mean? I'd love to invest in the stream. But even maybe a video editor to cut it up nicely, put together, a bunch of stuff I want to do. All of this stuff requires money. So that's why That's why, what was that? What do you mean? What does that mean? Bro, $200-300. Oh, for Azure, you were using Azure. You had like 2 months of credit. Yes, it's so expensive. If that's what you're saying, Microsoft. Yeah, AWS. It cost me just to support 5 users. Cost me for clipception just to support 5 users cost me hundreds. It's like $180 a month. Yeah, yeah. No, it's unbelievably expensive. If you have to use EC2, if you can use Lambda, no problem. If you can use AWS Lambda, no problem. But if you have to use Google Compute, if you have to use AWS EC2, if you have to run a server, like not a serverless, Lambda function, or a cloud function, if you have to run a server, dude, it's fucking outrageous. That's been my experience. And I've been asking everybody who comes in, I've been asking them, like, is there something I'm missing? Because, like, it's so crazy how expensive this is. Looks like my video got cut off. Let me put this back on. That brings me to today. No, it should be on clipception. Let me try something, guys. 1 second, sorry. There we go. Exactly, and I wasted my free. Got it. Yeah, I mean, look, dude. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, well, you didn't waste your free tile. You got experience working with it. You weren't gonna be able to support the app for free anyway. You were gonna have to pay. That's the thing, is you need income. Like, you just definitely need income. You can't build anything cool and deploy it unless you have a way to support it, at least initially. There's a guy you should meet, digital. He's called Jack. He streams very occasionally. He's one of the co-founders of a SaaS project. It's not like a entrepreneurship endeavors. I consider, like, when somebody creates a SaaS project like Clipception, I consider this more of like a small business than I do an entrepreneurship endeavor, because, like, for example, on Jack's project, he increases his budget linearly with the number of users he gets. So he's basically solving, like, small business problems. If you were pursuing an entrepreneurship endeavor, like, that is creating a business, an enterprise from scratch, you would be talking about raising money. That would be how you would speak about. You wouldn't be worried about, like, increasing that's much more of a small business problem. Like, how do I get more traffic into my door? How do I get more traffic? Like, these are more entrepreneurship endeavors. Is much bigger questions, and much bigger solutions. So long story short, you should check him out though. He's got what I would call a small business or a SaaS endeavor. And he has quite a few users. I think he has 50,000 users. And he told me basically he scaled his AWS. Well, he's not using AWS, he's using DigitalOcean, but he scaled his expenses with his user count. So as his user count grew, so too did his expenses. But it wasn't one of these things where he raised money or anything of that nature. Which is this thing, it's like this idea, right? Like, it's how much money would I even want to invest in Clipception, right? Like, I want to put some in, but, like, to put a ton in, yeah, Jack, I'll connect you if when time permits, or you guys are both here or something. He's new and he doesn't stream that often, but yeah, he's doing a small business environment. In fact, like I said, he's got 50,000 users, so he's already succeeded. But he's very knowledgeable about deploying software in that way. All right, so that brings me to today. Be in Japan over the week. In the week, this will be my last week of streaming. Oh yeah, real quick, Digital, what have you been working on? Digital, last time I spoke with you in chat, I had been to your channel once, but one time I was in, last time you were in chat, you mentioned that you had 3 projects, I believe, prototyped and ready to deliver. Any updates there? That's how I recall you were, recall what you told me. All right, so what we're going to do today, homies, this is the plan. We're going to go, we're going to be working out of Clipception. And so what we're going to do with Clipception today, let's get collab started. We're going to be working out a collab. I have a pretty specific plan. I had to put more money on, I guess. I thought I just paid them. That sucks. So annoying, dog. I've had to, I mean, it's only $10, but still, I just hate having to give them money. I just signed in. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. Payment went through. So I paid $10. You purchased a subscription, so I should be able to use it. Let's see what happened there. I mean, I do need to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do need a collab. Let's see. Why does it keep saying sign up? Oh, because I did the $10. Damn it. So I just wasted that $10. All right, fuck it. I gotta get my refund on that. I was supposed to get this one. I mean, I could get the Pro, too. Fuck. Yeah, see, I selected I just want 100 compute units. But if I don't get the Pro, then I don't have access to the terminal. And I do need the terminal. Fuck. All right, let me, let's work on something else, and I'm gonna get my refund on that, and then, redo it. That sucks. That was a mistake. I mean, it's only $10, but still, you know? This is why you need a bunch of cash, you know? Okay. So I took care of that. So here's what we'll do, homies. Let's get set up. So we do have Rabbit MQ. We got a bunch. That sucks, though. I fucked up that collab. I just asked for a refund. Damn, that looks so bad, huh? All right, let's, what do I got here? Let me see where I'm at. I'll talk about the plan for today. Let me just do that real quick. The plan is to get clipception. We'll get a data pipeline for clipception. That's what we're doing right now. We're gonna get a data pipeline for clipception, and that's gonna serve 2 points. One point is to train the application for learning. Another point is to get some experience with multi-agent development, and that is what we're gonna be doing today. So here's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna clone the live clipception, the link that's posted in chat. I'm gonna clone it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and implement multi-agent development, because I think I know how to do this now. When I started multi-agent development on Friday, I wasn't quite sure how to do it. And what I mean by that, I wasn't sure what the requirements are, but I think now I understand it with the combination of Rabbit. Well, here, let me just let me show some examples. Sorry, you wrote a lot, Digital. You're gonna have to give me a second, and then I'll catch up on it. Give me 1 second though. So Rabbit, so this is Rabbit. Let me log in. Is it not open anymore? Maybe I don't have it up. Let's see here. Maybe I closed it. All right, we'll have to. Okay, well, let me just touch on the beat. Let me capture the main beat. So I think I have a pretty good feel for this multi-agent development now. It's basically what's important piece to consider about this multi-agent development is how it's executed with stuff like Celery, with stuff like RabbitMQ. It is more or less just like a software engineering task, right? You set up a task queue with Rabbit, and then you have a publisher subscriber, pub sub. So you have effectively data structures subscribe to these queues. As they change, you feed the info, you accept the message in. So it is, in effect, all the software engineering projects you may have, and I have from working as a full stack dev. really translate and affect perfectly to multi-agent development. The only caveat, so there is effectively no caveat. The distributed systems, the architecture is going to be a one-to-one copy. That's why Suno in their role is looking for somebody with Kafka experience or somebody with Celery experience or RabbitMQ, because in effect, multi-agent development is effectively no different than how you would structure the processing queue in just a traditional backend web app. Now, the only caveat is you inject learning into each of these different queues. That's it, right? So we're gonna do that for the original version of Clipception. We're gonna structure two things. First things first, we're gonna separate the tasks for which are already modularized, right? And I'll talk about a little bit how they execute. They're already modularized, and we have in effect 3 of them, but 2 of them are going to be of importance. So transcription and GPU clip, right? These are 2 processes we're going to outsource to an agent. So we're going to have a transcription agent and we're going to have a GPU clip agent. That's it. We have 2 agents, and they're each going to have associated queues, and they're each going to be publishing and subscribing messages to these queues, and we're going to process the task in exactly the same way that in fact we already do. Actually, that's what I want to emphasize with multi-agent development. It functions in effect how you would anticipate if you've been creating code for the last 10 years. Now, I can't say from before, but if you were writing code professionally the last 10 years and you're doing something like, a Clipception where you have a long running process, you are already setting up the architecture from which you can implement multi-agent development. Now, the only caveat, so the structure is in effect the same. We're going to rename transcription to transcription agent, and we're going to rename GPU clip to GPU clip agent. When we're doing, it seems like, and we're going to learn today a little bit more because I actually haven't done this part. I set up the rabbit queue, etc., and I set up for the data pipeline, but I haven't injected learning at each step. But that's what's going to make it, in effect, instead of transcription.py, transcription agent, is we're going to inject generative AI into each of those steps. Let me change this music because it's driving me nuts. We'll put on some Sublime. But that is in effect like it's a real cool feature of multi-agent development, which is in effect, if you have done software engineering for the last 10 years, or probably even longer, but certainly in my lifetime, if you've done software engineering for the last 10 years, it is in fact, you're not going to need to learn anything in effect. You're going to be using Kafka, you're going to be using Redis, you're going to be using Celery, and you already know about queuing data structures. So it's just getting the generative AI in there, which presumably you already know how to do. All right, let me catch up on chat. Not for production, I built the web scraper to find how, yeah, so I had asked Digital, he had told me he had 3 projects. I've been approaching people and making project. Fiverr gigs, oh, you're doing Fiverr gigs. Oh, gotcha, those were Fiverr gigs? I didn't know that. You put the crime report generator for my boss? Dope. You might get ideas. Wait, how are those trading bots doing? I'm curious about that. I'm very curious about those trading bots. I definitely like, who was it I was talking to? Deslick. I was talking to Deslick on stream, and he was telling me about training bots. All right, so we're gonna get this set up. Here's how we're gonna do it. Let me clear out this interface because it looks like a mess. Also, I need to refresh it. Okay, so here's our agent up top. We're gonna make these smaller. In fact, I'm gonna close this agent for now. We're gonna clear. And we're gonna make a new directory. We're gonna call it multi-agent clipception. Oh, this already exists. I already have a multi-agent. Okay, we're gonna do 2. Okay, let's CD. I guess what that is that's the pipeline file folder directory we were working out of on Friday. All right, so let's clone. We're gonna clone clipception. Let me throw this in here. Bum, bum, bum. All right, let's do a clone. Go get clone. Clone that bad boy in. All right, so I got to do a couple things to get this right. But actually, I'm not even sure that I want to do that. Here's what I want to do. I want to start iter, and we're gonna have to start a new get ignore. Yep. And then what I want to do from here is I want to change the model. So let's put on Gemini 2.5. You know, we could try 03 mini or 4. What is it? Mini 03 mini or what is it? 4.0 mini. We could try either of those. Should we do that? Let's. I've had so much success with Gemini that like I don't like. I mean I also success with mini, and I also have success with throw as well. Just DeepSeek. DeepSeek's the only one that, in my opinion, is a bona fide bust, and I'd love to be able to prove it. Look, they got rid of the free. Oh no, that's wrong. I was about to say they got rid of the free version of DeepSeek, of Gemini rather. It does look like they got no. There it is. We'll use the free version because why not? It's free and it won't be free forever. If it's not effective, we can always change out. So we've got Gemini 2.5 as our main, Gemini 2.0 as our weak. All right, so here's what we want to do. Let's go edit. Let's go task. So set up multi-agent development for this project. So we're gonna list out the requirements here. I might do it agent by agent, but we're gonna say use RabbitMQ. MQ, excuse me. Create 2 agents. One called transcription agent, and the other called GPU clip agent. What else? Let's see what she does. Let's go to the top of the stack. Let's go V. I'm going to copy this, and we're going to switch the way we interact with Esra here. Let's do ask, and then now let's go edit. So if you switch to ask mode, whoops, it never saves. I don't know why. Oh, well. We got to add to the context window, don't we? We're going to do create change transcription. .py. Okay. What else? Let's let that go because we're in ask mode. So let's see what she does. We use so the Python script works, has been back tested, and I've been locked in and using hypertuning to import. We use Alpaca to trade, and I'll be. What do you mean your personal addiction? How does this hurt your addiction? Shouldn't it help? Because you get to do more of it, and you know what you're doing. Yeah, that sucks. What I did, that sucks. I paid Google Collab $10, and I didn't mean to. I asked for a refund. Hopefully, if they don't refund me, and we need to start grokking, I'm just gonna pay the fucking other $10. Then we'll have 2, I guess. It sucks, but I didn't mean to. Yeah, so she's adding them to the context window. I completely forgot to do that. She needs to add both. Oh yeah, here, 1 second. Secrets is up. I love this song. This is okay. Let's rerun it. That's how I've gotten better at not fucking this up. And of course we're gonna have to redo this. That sucks. I've leaked my keys so much that I finally learned. I'll be immortal. I'm eating Mexican food for dinner. I'm so stoked. I got 3 shrimp tacos. Oh my God. I had her get rid of ask from each line. Okay, go ahead. Now she has both. This is annoying. This is the worst part about it's getting the environment set up. It's never just as easy as start writing in a text file and running it. Let me just make sure the API key is connected. Yeah. Okay. Let's switch models. It might be that I didn't like that. Sometimes connecting to Jam can be a little bit obnoxious. Not always, and like sometimes it's possible it's user error, but there's been other times where I think I'm connected and I'm not. Let's throw this in here. Let's go model. Okay, hello? No. Let's try the other one. It looked like it was connected. Okay. We're connected. All right, let's throw this in. Okay. Hey, Dylan. All right, so we'll get this started. Okay, looks like she's finally... Damn, see, like, that took 5 to 10 minutes just to going, oh, shit, hell yeah, 7 months. A great 7 months, too. Appreciate the sub. Gosh, I really got to get this stream to the next level. You know, figure... You subscribed for 7 months. So that means I've been streaming for 9 months, but I already knew that. Yeah, it's been 9 months since August. And I figure by a year, dude, I need to be fucking close to like something like a much bigger channel. I'm not even like, I haven't really made much progress at all. I mean, I'm grateful for my stream no matter what. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm so grateful for having this. It's such an awesome experience. But I'd love to build it, you know? But it's really been really hard to build it, you know, past what we have so far. I haven't been able to like get over, let's say, an average users of 15 a month, something like that, you know, average viewers rather. So we'll see what we can do. I'm going to keep investing. Like, hopefully I'll have this new job, so I won't have to worry about not being able to afford a GPU cluster, for example, or, you know what I mean? Like, once I can afford some of the stuff, that'll help. No, the robot trading is not me trading. I prefer using PineScript for entries. Okay. Yeah, I said this to you before, Dylan, and I still have no idea how fucking Prime grew his. I mean, his average viewership is large. Is like 3 times the size sometimes than the entire like software category. Like, he'll have 4,000 viewers and there'll be like 800 people in the entire. I have no idea how he grew so big. GPU giveaway? Not quite, but yes, giveaways for sure. I was thinking I would do like $20 open router gift cards. You know, like, set it up so that I have, you know, people can, if they participate in the channel, if they comment, etc., they can win $20 in open router gift cards. Not like a full-on GPU like Suarez, but Suarez did it. Suarez gave out 4 GPUs, 3 GPUs to that team. He did do it though, dog. Remember? When my dog runs away, I don't get angry at the bills I have to pay. I don't get angry when my mom smokes pot. Hits the bottle and goes right to the rock. What was his name, that guy? Yeah, see? Joseph Suarez provided me with a machine with a good GPU and a CPU and a 4090. That's a 3,000, like, that must have cost $4,000 or $5,000, dog. And he gave away 4 of them, I think. Like, if you go to that website, he gave away 4. That's fucking crazy, dog. Suarez must be just balling. Like when I talk to Suarez, when I've interacted with him or watched his stream, he's so sharp, dude. Like so sharp. Plus he's like 10 years younger than me. He's just as sharp as a tack. So I believe, my personal belief is that he created Puffer. He wants people to use it, but they don't have the hardware to do it. So he gave away 4 GPUs. Nah, he gave him the whole machine, I think. Nah. He gave him the whole machine, 4 of them. I mean, I didn't ask him like specifically, but if you read that website, remember the website that that guy made? We went to it, and it sounds like he gave him 4 computers. I mean, it's a good investment, dog. Like, you know, and because they used those machines and they used Puffer, right? Basically, it was like paying for users and advertisement. It was a really good investment. I know it is wild. I mean, he must just have money, doggy. You know, like there's no two ways around it. He must just have, like, if you're making, let's say, like you get the Suno role or like his role, maybe he's making 300K a year. If you're making 300K a year, like, you know, that's over 20K a month after taxes. You know, like you can do, and you don't have kids or a wife, like you could totally invest in whatever you want. Like my mortgage, like, dude, if I get 20K a month, dude, I'll be living so well. You know. Like I'd be living so well. So like maybe that's what he has, you know, maybe he's averaging, like, it's totally possible. You guys saw that Suno, you saw the role, the pay. If you didn't see the pay for the Suno principal role, it's 250 to 300K. That's the salary, 250 to 300. And I would imagine that's standard for principal, you know, for lead. That's probably the standard, you know, like I guess that would be my guess. For the staff, it's 170 to 190, which is not, I mean, it's good money, but it's not like, you know, you're not balling out of your mind. Because in my mind. All right, let's see where we're at. So she did the multi-agent development. Here, just real quick, let me just give a quick update. Oh, yeah, so, I didn't tell you, Dylan, you weren't here. So yesterday, I didn't publish a new article this week. And the reason I didn't publish a new article is because, you know, a lot of moving parts. I got my interview with Suno tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., the first of 2 technical interviews. I've got another final round technical interview this week. I'm assuming it's a final round. It might not be, but I have another technical interview this week. And I'm going to Japan on Tuesday. I leave on Tuesday. So it's just a wild, wild week. And so yesterday, like I did some packing and then I was like, well, I just want to, I want to kick it, you know, like I'm not really trying to write a blog, you know, even though I should have, because I'm trying to do a blog every week. Just real quick, I have done 2 already. I love that line, tweaker pad. So, like, I've done already 2 or 3. I've been running a few articles, but I've done them like steadily every week. This is the one I wrote last week, and so I was wanting to do it again today, or yesterday, excuse me. Except, I had packed, and then I was like watching baseball. And I was just in a position where I wasn't trying to like do a blog. But here's what I did set it up a little bit. Here's the idea of the blog. So I told the homies before you were here, Dylan, like I told Digital and Skurg, whoever else was here earlier, that like yesterday I got all my old Harvard Business Review articles. And so you can see the ranges they're from. I used to read it like, you know, every month at different points in my life, right? But these are some of the ones I have locally. Some of them go back pretty far to 2007. Which may be like a little bit less relevant, but in one of these articles, and some of them are collections, some of them are like collections of articles, you know, collections of issues rather. So like the 10 must reads that I just had on, that's actually like a year in review. Maybe it was 2020 or something like that. So I was thinking in my head, like, you know, it'd be sick for an article would be to go back and find that article I've been telling you guys about where in effect, hold on. Oh, I closed it. I was going to show, yeah, this is the exact one. Okay. So, I was thinking to go back and find that article that talked about the blockchain, you know, like that basically they said in writing, like, fasten your seatbelt. The blockchain is going to have the same type of impact as Web 2, which in effect means that the entire internet is going to be provided by a new set of architecture. Because that is, make no mistake about it, that is what Web 2.0 was. It completely reformed how we interface with the internet. From a software engineering standpoint, from like a consumer standpoint. So like in one of these articles, it could be in this one, though I did look at the index. It didn't say anything about blockchain, right? Like it does mention, excuse me, This one doesn't, but there is an article that says something like, in the future, Web 3 will replace Web 2, and so fasten your seatbelt. And so it was like in that, shadow that I've been like, considering stuff like Wallet, right? Just so I have some experience working on the blockchain. And of course you were there for Wallet, but I haven't seen, I definitely I can't say for certain whether or not this is like it's impossible to say for certain the impact of Web3, right? But it's safe to say for sure that it didn't replace, the entire architecture in it, much like Web 2.0, Web 2 did. Like that seems like a pretty obviously true statement. So I was thinking about doing an article like something like Harvard gets it wrong, Web 3 and Harvard Business Review from 2017, and just talk about Wallet, as an opportunity to introduce Wallet, as an opportunity to introduce this prediction that effectively hasn't, in my opinion, come to fruition, or maybe it has and I just don't have visibility towards it. But long story short, I didn't get to write it last night, so maybe that'll come out this week. So I'll post it on Discord should I find the time to do it. But that'll be the next article. Traveling to Japan. Yeah, it's a good one, right? Yeah. So, but I'm traveling to Japan, so don't expect homies. I won't be here. So if you need to hit me up on Discord. I think what I want to do right now is for this stream, and I already started it, and we're gonna look at the vibe coded results in a second. But this multi-agent stuff is awesome. If you have an experience, like I know you do, Dylan, I know a bunch of people do, have been creating software for 5 to 10 years, like multi-agent development is going to be an easy fit. It's going to fit like a glove. And the reason is, in some of the stuff I did on Friday and then going into today, you're really talking about, long run. It's really just working with queues, and in much the same way you would work with Celery or Redis or any of these type of things. That architecture forms the basis for multi-agent development so far. I'm just starting to do this for the first time, but it really feels like if you contributed to a software engineering, a full stack project in the last 10 years, then you've contributed to this type of architecture. Stuff like polling, right? Or publisher, subscriber, all of these type of words keep coming up. And if you've done any type of that engineering work in the last 5 to 10 years, you've definitely done some pub sub or done some polling, right? If you're running a front end, you're polling the back end. If you've done any of this stuff, that's pretty much how these structures work. So what I'm doing right now, that sets me up for what I'm doing right now, which is this is the original construction of clipception. And in fact, this doesn't have the Celery queue in it. The Celery queue though, and the reason here, let me just see if I can articulate this as best as I can, but I do have one that does have the Celery queue. So if you have the Celery queue, then you have a server.py, which manages the long-running tasks right here. Okay, and so this Celery queue, though, in effect, and that's what I was kind of trying to say a second ago, all of these processes is pretty much how these multi-agent development structures look like, at least from the high level. Now, I haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty yet, but it does seem like you pretty much have with Rabbit. By the way, Rabbit could be interchanged with Celery here. You would have the same result. So that's kind of, so this is actually as the server implementation. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look at the not server integration. And what I'm going to do is make transcription.py in GPU clip, both these agents. So the transcription will be transcription agent, GPU clip will be GPU clip agent, and then we'll have them communicate with each other via a messaging queue, which I already have RabbitMQ in line for that. So transcription will publish a message to the queue, starting the transcription. GPU clip will be subscribed to the queue and waiting for the transcription to finish before it injects its intelligence. So how does multi-agent development just differ from like standard? That's what I'm trying to get to the core of. As it looks like right now, right, is it looks like it's just a matter of injecting intelligence at each of these different queues, right? That's how it looks like. So as you're publishing and subscribing the process by which, if you're subscribed, if you're a message consumer, you're waiting on a process to finish, and that process is going to involve the generative AI. So transcription involves OpenAI Whisper injecting its intelligence in. GPU clip involves DeepSeek injecting its intelligence in. So in my head, and of course I'm going to find out how accurate this is, but in my head, I think we're looking at a perfect setup for multi-agent development. And so that's what I got started on whenever you showed up, Dylan, and the other homies who were here before saw that. So let's hit yes. So she did the work already. So let's see what she did. So I asked her to do it. The story.md was something to the effect of, here, we'll let her work and we'll open up, we'll open up Eider here, Eider chat. We'll put this up top so we don't have that ugly view. She's still working on something. I'm not entirely sure what. Oh, she updated the requirements. Okay, so we'll take a look and see what she did in a second. But let's take a look and look in this console right here and see the latest effort. So it should be Rabbit, right? That's the end? Okay, perfect. Okay, so right here. So I had asked her, I'll show you guys the story that I asked, and then we'll look at her response. Shop. The frick? There. Okay, so here we go. Instead, so this is, I asked her basically, the story was, can you please, I don't think I said please, but I said something to the effect of, damn, she wrote a lot. Am I even in the right spot? Let me do a better job here of navigating this text file. So what I'm looking for, yeah, I do have to use that chat. Here, we'll do a better job. Let's do it this way, homies. I'm going to open up a different text viewer so we get a better view of this. And then we'll go through it and we'll see what she did to create Clipception as a multi-agent project. By the way, I got billed twice for fucking Google Collab. I mean, it was all my fault. But basically, like, I was trying to just use the terminal, which is a $10 fee, but I didn't want to sign up for the membership or whatever. So I put pay as you go. So basically, they billed me for $10, but I didn't get the membership, which is what's necessary for the terminal. So you just get the GPU, like 100 GPU compute units. So like, basically, I ended up getting billed for nothing. And so I might have to, like, in 30 minutes or an hour, pay another $10 just to use the GPU. The other alternative, and really what I should do, is, you know, Wenson on his setup, he codes on a Mac because that's where he's comfortable, like myself. But then he has his PC with a 4090 very close by. And he basically, like, I don't know if it's SSH or a direct connection, but he has his, you know, and he basically, on his Mac, he, like, much like I'll do with Collab, he does that with his PC. So he just, like, SSH or maybe has a direct connection. I'm not entirely sure, but it's really nice. And when I get some time, which is not going to be anytime soon, like, I really want to do that setup. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to keep paying fucking Google all this money. Here, let's put on a different song. This is driving me nuts. It's, like, so crazy how quick, like, I'll be listening to something I like and how quickly it'll switch from something that I'm, like, enjoying to something that just gets on my nerves. You know, going through those old Harvard Business Review articles, you know what it got me thinking? You know how Wenson is going through all those archive, old archive code, and he's using deep learning. He's using GPT's deep learning, and he's using just Eider or Cursor to vibe code out those, add those articles to the context window and then vibe code it out. You know how he's doing that? I was thinking it'd be sick to do that with the Harvard Business Review articles, like extract whatever. I mean, it would just be like a summary, I guess. But see if, like, there's so much there. And oftentimes I would read the whole article over the course of a month, the whole magazine. But, you know, it would be cool. No, Wenson and Blackbag are different. They're different folks, yeah. Let me show you guys who Wenson 3000. He's totally worth seeing. He's, in my opinion, one of the best. He's very experienced, dog. Like, very, very experienced. Let me find his channel. Very, very experienced dev, you know? Like, he's got a lot of knowledge, I'd say. Wesson. I called him Wenson. That's my bad. Wesson 3000. He's very, very experienced at computer science. Building a Go agent framework, putting in events dispatcher. Like, he's up to cool shit. I'll say that. Like, for sure. Look, he's got starting vibe. Yeah, he vibe code. Like, he gave up coding too. You know? Like, he just went straight to vibe coding as well. Actually, it was his stream. Like, there were a bunch of things that played into how I ended up just becoming, you know, very sold on Vibe Coding. A bunch of different things that happened, but one of the things that happened was I watched him, and I was watching his stream. I did it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and by the third time, like I was just persuaded. I was like, you know what, this dude's right. Like, and the fact that he had been like writing code even longer than myself for 20 years, like made me think like there were a lot of different things that happened, but one of the things that happened was him. And Black Bag, also old school developer, but yeah, different people. Black Bag built that he built his own IDER, which is a very cool project. You know, like it's just like you don't like time is such a battle for time. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had enough time, I would do so many things, but you know, you don't. So you do what you can. But if I had a bunch of time, like it would be awesome to do what Black Bag did. You know what I'm saying? Like that to figure out how they populate the context window. Like, you know, there are a bunch of things that it would be fun to do with IDER, to rebuild IDER rather to clone it. The one thing that I think would be not so fun in doing that project is if you look at IDER, for example, like it has a lot of features, right? Like you'd have to build out all of those. And the thing is if you're doing something at a something resembling a decent level, like you'd have to build out the whole ask mode. You'd have to build out the whole architecture mode, any of the slash commands, and there's a bunch of them. The web scraper, you know, if you're gonna build something like that has these type of features, it all takes time. You know, nothing is free. You know, so even if it's not super complicated, like it just takes time. And sometimes, as you guys well know, you'll work on something that you know is not technically complex and that you've done before, and it'll take you all day. This has happened to me God knows how many times on the stream, right? Where like I'm doing something that should be simple, but you'll get caught in a bug and then you go to fix the bug. And then before you know it, you've wasted 2-3 hours on something that should have taken you 5-10 minutes. So that's the only thing. Like if you're going to do that project, or myself, if I were to do that project, I would just like make sure that I wasn't too feature creeped out and just get like the main features. But all to say, like really good use of time in my opinion. All right, so let's take a look at this IDER chat. So this is what I wanted to take a look at with you guys. So this is the implementation of the multi-agent development for clipception. Just not the Flask app though. Not the Flask app, just the terminal app, the back that runs in the terminal, you know? Because the Flask app has a significant layer of complexity. So let's just take a look and let's see. So this is what I asked. So the story.md that I wrote was set up multi-agent development for this repo, the repo being clipception. Change transcription to transcription agent, GPU clip to GPU clip agent. Okay. By the way, real quick, like I was working on this same project, maybe like on Wednesday, and I had asked it for an implementation of clipception with RAG, right? And I had gotten a response. And because I know so little about RAG, and this might be true, and this is why I'm bringing it up, because I know so little about RAG, when I started implementing it, a Vega came in, and Vega's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And he gave me his reasons why approaching RAG in this way didn't make sense. And I showed him, this is, you know, I pulled up the IDER chat history and I said, this is, you're saying that the agent's hallucinating. And, you know, I don't know if I ever got like a complete straight answer, but more or less he disagreed with the agent's approach. Because as you guys know, if you ask an agent to do something, it's going to do it. And so it's hard. Like one thing I'm noticing is if I'm approaching something like multi-agent development, like RAG, where my expertise is so low, when the agent says something, I don't know if it's hallucinating or not. So just something I'm going to keep in mind while I'm looking at this. So I don't know that it would, if it gives me like, for example, on the DAG or the RAG rather, I think the approach was coherent enough. I don't think it was an utter hallucination. I think it was it's not a specifically, let's say valuable resource, RAG, in the way that I had it originally set up on Wednesday or Thursday. So while it may have hallucinated, it didn't hallucinate in the sense that it wasn't a functioning approach to implementing RAG. It was just, what kind of value are you getting? Is it even a good, to solve the problem of using a data pipeline to predict the most viral clips, solving that problem, it may be the case that RAG, or it's likely the case that RAG isn't the best approach, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't do it, right? It's just how much value you're getting out. And that is an important metric, of course. You don't want to create useless software. But there's like a secondary point with implementing RAG on clipception, which is I just want to do it, right? I want to vectorize the data. I want to put it in ChromaDB. You know what I mean? I want to go through the process because I had never done it before. But of course, you don't want to do stuff that's useless. So if you know what I mean, like you're creating software that's like maybe well architected, but if it doesn't do shit, who cares, you know? So like, before I implement like the rest of this project, I'm going to make certain that I it's actually the right way to do, or as best I can. Okay, let's keep going. So we're looking at multi-agent development. And this is the story.md. So let's see. We have clipception, which you guys have seen. Okay. Oh, I'm a little bit too high up. It should be right after this though. Okay, multi-agent development. There's the same story.md, but she had to, I guess there was some communication between the two of us before she got started. So we added to the context transcription.py, which is important because that's going to now be transcription agent.py. Multi-agent pipeline. So like you can see like a multi-agent pipeline, it really is. You just called it like, okay, I'd have to speak with somebody who's like has an expertise much greater than mine, but from somebody who's going into multi-agent development, it really sounds like a lot of the stuff we've always done, right? With Celery, with Redis, but you're adding intelligence in. It doesn't sound like, basically what I'm trying to say is like clipception as it stands is not a sophisticated messaging queue, but it's more or less like set up like that. So in other words, it's somewhat of a semantic. I would love to talk to somebody who can give me that clarity. If what I'm suggesting is true. Agent feedback loops. Well, okay, here, look. Let's see something real quick. So this is the basis. Here's how I got here. So this is Crew AI. They're famous for their multi-agent setup. And so they did this. And if you read their case study, it basically says you have one agent, right? Like you have one agent writing the code. You have another agent listening to that queue and then providing like documentation or critiquing. In other words, how the agents were set up was just a messaging queue where one was sub to the other. And then at each level, at each queue, there was intelligence injected in. That's how it was. That's how I'm interpreting it right now, which is why we're doing this. So we'll get a good feedback for it. All right, let's go back to multi-agent pipeline. So import Pika library. Yeah. So I'm using that in the other project, in the other pipeline. Argparse, no surprise there. That receives a video path called process video, pushes the path to the result of the resulting transcription queue. So I don't think I said anything about queues, but we're already seeing them. I mean, I did mention rabbit, which you can infer that'll be a queue. Use environment variables from queue for host port. Okay. So the general steps are just modify the two files, renaming, right? Installing the client. Okay. And so we need a new script though, for a pipeline. If Sweep was here, he could probably just tell us some stuff about, because I know what he does for a living is like pipelines. That's how he gets his bread, is working on pipelines. By the way, when I was looking up all these different, especially at stuff like Snowflake, it's definitely at stuff like Databricks. Gosh, almost all of the work they're seeking, all the talent they're seeking is like pertaining to people who have expertise in pipeline. And you could see why, like you could totally see why, like working on something like clipception, right? Especially what we talked about on Friday, where we effectively have this feedback loop where the clips are created. So hopefully you guys have seen this. Let me pull it up for those who haven't. I drew this a couple days ago. Actually, I did it on stream. I like to keep it in the corner here while I'm working. I don't know why I let it go, but here we'll pull it up. So this is how I have it mocked up. This is what the flow looks like. So clipception generates the MP4 files, it generates the clips. We upload them to YouTube. We get some feedback in. Now, this is what we're working on, generally speaking. We've taken a step back and we're going to restructure Clipception as a multi-agent environment. But for the feedback loop, this is what we were working on Friday, was the yellow node. Now, the red node, this is where it gets fishy, because I thought it would make sense that after we get the results, we feed that back in. And so we have an ongoing learning process. It is just an ongoing loop. But some of the stuff is not obviously accurate. In particular, the clipception rag, like that may not make sense. I don't know, but like it seems like it might not. We'll find out. Let's keep going. I might have to sit here in a second. I probably should use Fast Whisper too if I'm doing this update right here. I'm going to sit. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Time to go down. Goodbye. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay. We have went down, homies. Oh, no. How embarrassing. Gosh, how many times have you homies seen me do that? Destroy my set like that. Gosh, it's been so many times. All right, now we're down. Sorry about that. Okay, let's keep working. So we'll probably add Fast Whisper here, but let's keep going. So this is the new code for transcription agent, I believe, right? Yeah, transcription agent. So this is, gosh, importing Whisper, depending on the environment, can be a pain in the ass. That's why this is just an import statement. But look at, I have to actually put it in an accept block because it will fail so often. I think maybe because it's an active development, Whisper is, it's a very actively, I don't know exactly why, but I do know that like when I was publishing Clipception originally, that import statement was such a pain in the butt. All right, let's keep going. Sorry, let me get the music set up. Okay, so we're looking at Clipception, transcription rather. Oh, you guys don't hear any music, do you? Let me fix that so you guys can be plugged in with me. European dance funk. Here, we'll put Tokyo funk on. Sorry, guys. We got to do a little bit of a stall there, but we're back on. Okay. This is how by the way, this is how I decorate the data for the sound. You know how Clipception tracks the status of the sound at any point? This is how it's done. So it's actually like tapping into the metric for volume. That's actually not what I want to look at is the code specifically. What I want to look at is more of the dialogue about it, but she sure did make a lot of changes. So we have config files. Okay, this is, I think, what sets up Rabbit. This is, you know what, like, here's the other thing too, like, we're gonna get this done and we're gonna see what this looks like, but just from an architecture standpoint, tagging, for example, the transcription as transcription agent and putting intelligence in there, you can see why that makes a lot of sense. As long as your architecture set up with your pub sub, like, you can see why that makes sense. So like you've modularized the process of accomplishing a long running task, but then also at every level, at every stage, you have an agent there to in effect ensure that to pick up any loose ends. So for example, I was thinking on the data pipeline where we pipe data back in to clipception, I was thinking like an agent would be very helpful to after you query YouTube, right? Because we did that on Friday. We have that agent set up where it's asking for any YouTube video that's tagged as clipception. You know, to have an agent overseeing that process to select what videos, right? Because you're going to get a bunch of results. I think it's limited, it's throttled, but you know, there's going to be tens of thousands. So you would, you know, paginate or what have you. But the long story short is having an agent there to select the picks, to select which results to feed into the app. Like you can see why that makes sense. At least I can. Okay, so I guess we're going to see how this works. Here, this is kind of what I wanted to see right here. So install RabbitMQ. I already have it installed. So I think this is what I was missing earlier. Remember I was trying to start Rabbit, but it wasn't working. I think that's because I neglected to run this Docker command. And I still have Docker running, right? Oh, I don't have Docker running. I got to start Docker. Oh, no, Docker is on. Okay, so Docker runs in the background on my Mac. Let's close out of this. Port is already allocated, so I'll have to kill that process and then restart it. Because I had Docker running for the loop of the feedback loop. Let me let me kill the process. What is it? Just ps kill. I don't remember. 1652. Is that how you do it? No, I don't remember what the command is here. We'll just find it. Kill. It's just kill. What did I say? PS? Whoops. I'm not excited for the long flight. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So there it is, Docker. It's running on port PI. There it is. So it's kill 8502. Now we rerun the Docker command. This one? What? We'll get it up. Just give me a second. I do have Docker open. First check if the Docker, it is running, so, oh, I just closed it. I see. You gotta, I guess, look, you have to actually, I thought I saw it though. I must have closed when I ran the kill command. Okay, you can see here, okay, here, let me pull this up. So we'll put Docker up here. It's Docker, homie. Gosh, Docker's such a successful piece of software, you know? Okay, so Docker's front and center. So this is, see this queue right here? This YouTube, this is the queue where I was building so this queue, RabbitMQ, is the one that was just running. That's used to populate all the clips that are tagged with clipception in order to fulfill the feedback loop. Oh, I should leave this in the corner. Okay, so it should be running now. Are we set? Let's see what's going on. I'm gonna leave this in the corner. I'm gonna close Docker. Leave this in the top right, I guess. Okay, we'll close out Docker, and then let me open up iTerm 2. Let's see what's going on. So I just ran this command. Let me try again. Same error, but now I definitely know it's open because I just showed you guys. The container name is already in use, so that's the problem. It's just not named correctly. So that'll probably be, okay, we'll just fix that real quick. I think that's probably inside one of the Python scripts, though I'm not entirely sure. Let's see what she says. Yeah, I would rather use this. Okay, I got it. So this command, I think it makes sense to me. Make it make sense. All right, so what I'm trying to do for clipception here is I'm trying to set up an agent. I'm sorry, RabbitMQ, except that I've already did the same exact command a couple days ago, and so I need to call it something else. But where do you rename it? Hold on. Where do you rename it? Right here. This is where you rename it. Okay, so let me just rewrite this. Let's call it we'll call it clipception rabbit. Put that in your Docker and smoke it, homies. All right, so Docker's up. Great. All right, let's look back and see what our tasks are. And when I say Docker's up, I mean rabbit. When I say Docker's up, I don't mean Docker's up. I mean rabbit's up. I mean the exact opposite of what's actually happening. Okay, let's pull up this. No, this. Yes. Okay, so I'm looking at VS Code here. We did RabbitMQ. Now, Pika. This is interesting because I don't think I have UV installed, so I'm going to have to do that. This will take a second. You know what I could do? You know what might make sense? Here's what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm going to have to create a new environment right now because I cloned clipception. I cloned clipception and I'm working out of a fresh local directory. So I'd have to create a new environment, or you know what I could do? Actually, no, I thought of it. Can you do that? So here's what I'm getting at. I have a other project. It's called multi-agent clipception. The previous project directory we were working on is multi-agent clipception part 2, but I was working on this one on Friday. So if we cd into here, okay, so this environment is actually already set up. So I'd like to just copy the UV environment from here into the previous one. I wonder what the great way to do that is. So I think you just go source.vem.bin.activate, right? No. Well, either way, here, no harm, no foul. Here's what we'll do. We'll go back to multi-agent. We'll go back to the previous directory that we were working in for this whole stream. And we're going to just set up a new environment. And then we'll install Pika in there. So first things first is... Whoops. Okay. And then activate. And then one, yeah, I mean, that was simple as how I could have just done that in a second. Okay, let's close this out. Alex is like, that's the worst thing about working in Python is managing the environment. And he's not wrong. It sucks. It's not like the worst thing in the world that could happen to you, but it's just an extra layer of complexity, you know? Okay, so what's next? Next thing is install Pika Pika. What a great name. Pika Pika. We'll do uv pip install Pika. Okay, that installed. And then, okay, I gotta import the key. So I'll have to put secrets up. Optionally set rabbit host if not. We're gonna run into a problem here. If I'm using I think we can make this work, but we're gonna have to do some manipulations. The reason is because this is a problem, right? Like when I'm using transcription, I'm using GPU clip, and that relies on a CUDA GPU, and on this Mac I don't have it. So this is usually the repo I run on Collab, but I don't know if I could start a Rabbit. So all this to say, like I'm gonna have to mess around right now, which is not gonna be fun. I'm gonna have to move some stuff around. Let me also move around my setup while I'm here. What are all these? Hold on. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second. So this is what I wanted to move. There we go. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's just run it. Let's run it, but I know it's gonna fail, and then we'll fix it so that it runs on Mac. That's it. It's the only way to do it. Very obnoxious. That's very annoying. Which is why I was paying for collab, so I could run this on the GPU in the cloud. But even if we did do that, like say we did run it on Google Collab in the cloud, we would still be at in a situation where I don't know that you can run Rabbit up there. I don't know. Maybe you can. For all I know, you can. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know for sure. Okay. It should be able to run transcription. So we're pretty much done, though, homie. Like, we're pretty much ready to run this, I think. The only thing I need to do is export the key. So let me put secrets up. And then we'll... Okay. Yeah. Digital, you're looking in on the secrets. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. I think we can run it. Will probably be an error, but we have all this stuff set up. We have peek installed. Like, I already know what one problem's going to be, but I think we can work around it pretty quickly. Let's see. Okay, let's just run it. You can see it says non-Mac version. Like, that was, if I've ever named something correctly, it was that. But look how you have the agents running in 2 different terminals. On a 3rd terminal run, pipeline, that's where you start. Oh, let's check this out. This is very cool. Oh man, it didn't work. Here, let's see. This is very cool. I actually, now I see the vision. So you have 3 different agents running on 3 different terminals effectively, and then they're communicating with each other through the entry point is right here. Dang, that's so dope. I can totally see why. You could totally see how clean that is. So normally how it works, homies, for those of you who have used clipception in the past, you guys know that clipception operates as follows. So how it normally works is, they're effectively just waiting on one process to finish before it feeds another one. So first one that runs is transcription, then GPU clip runs, and then clip.py runs. Though actually the first one that runs is process vid v4. But here actually it's a completely different setup. It has you start all the process at the same time, then here's the entry point, and this is very cool. All right, let's see if we can't get it to work. And by the way, there's intelligence. These agents are actually, like for example, transcriptions using OpenAI Whisper, not even fast but regular. GPU clips using DeepSeek. Let's run this. So you see what I mean. Hello, not the secrets watching the run. I'm here for the support, not for the slips. So you see what I mean when I say loop? Well, no, I see your picture now. You please see what I meant, girlfriend? Okay, let's throw this in. Well, thank you for the support, homie. Alright, let's run this. Let's see where we are, first of all. Okay. Oh yeah, we're not even in the right folder. Okay, so yeah. So now we have, yeah, but you know what happened, don't you? Let's see. I think I know what happened. It's fine because I have the agent code here, but here's what happened. I think I wrote ask, huh? I didn't have it implement the code, and then I just closed out either, but that's fine because I have the history here, so we can just do this manually. In fact, I'm actually happier to not have it right over. But let's go to the start. So here's what happened. I was in IDER, so I was vibe coding this, and I didn't have it in code mode. I had it in chat and ask mode. And so because of that, it volunteered all these changes. So here's the original request, or what I call story.md. And so the original is here, and I must be in ask mode because it didn't actually write the code. It just answered the question. So I mean, that's what it seems like. So unless I was in a different directory. Hold on. No. Okay, let's just copy it in. It'll just take a second. And actually, I was going to say that's not the end of the world because in this setup, at least I have more, I'll have a separate file instead of, renaming it. So here we go. This will be transcription agent. And then we'll make, yes, this is transcription agent. See? Okay, so I'm going to copy all these in. Just give me a second. I mean, it's a little bit of a bummer because we could have just ran it, but this will be a fine setup. So let's go transcription agent .py. Okay, so we're creating a new file. Let's make sure that this is right. This is actually what this is transcription, as I mentioned earlier. It always has problems importing in Whisper, but so that's why the import is in a try catch block. In fact, there's a nested try catch block here too. Okay, let's close out of this. Let's open up the second one, which is GPU clip agent, and then we'll run both of them. Hopefully they both run, and then we have to create a third file, which is called pipeline. Like it's where you feed in the video. This is very dope, though. I mean, I'll say that this is totally cool. Like let's make sure it works. Though I think it will. Like just looking at it, it looks pretty solid. All right, so line 2730. I'm just copying. This is a GPU clip. So this is what it communicates with the agent. In the normal version of clipception, not the multi-agent, but in the normal version, it just asks, so there you can see the pub sub. That's when it receives a message for complete. See, callback function to process. Yeah, okay, but it's still part of the same file, so right here. Yeah, so publisher subscriber is you could not write any software professionally in the last 10 years and not at least know what pub sub is. It's so fundamental to how you write software professionally. There's a million ways that you implement it. I mean, one obvious one is on listeners for database changes. So say you're working in MongoDB or even something like Firebase, and there's a change to a record, you'll have a listener. That basically there's a publisher. In the case of the example I just gave, Firebase is publishing the message, oh, a record has changed, and then you have a consumer, the subscriber, that subscribed to any of the changes to that record. So like pub sub is like you can't even, there's no way you could have been paid unless you were like a purely front end dev. Even then, it seems unlikely that you would have not encountered publisher subscriber, which is why I think this multi-agent stuff is so interesting, because if you have any experience writing software professionally, then like it seems like, and I don't know this for a fact, but it certainly seems like doing multi-agent development is kind of it's not a stretch. Like it's just an extension of what you already know, adding intelligence into each step. We'll see though. I don't know that for certain, but that's my early take on it. Certainly I haven't seen anything in creating this multi-agent development setup that makes me think that it's anything different. The architecture at least. Okay. So that's GPU clip. Let's look at the last. So okay, should we just run it and see if we encounter any problems? Because we do have to run all three files. So in order to get this whole pipeline running, we do need all of them to work. So we're going to run transcription agent. We do have the correct environment running. Let's go. Yeah, because I didn't run this. But we're going to get a problem. This is where okay, so we can do two things. I already know I'm going to run into an issue here. So I didn't actually run when I cloned the repo today. I didn't run pip install requirements. But when I do, it's going to error because this is the non-Mac repo. And so it's going to rely on extensions I don't have. But no problem, actually. Now that I know what I'm up against, we can just simply go into Flask app. And so here, this version of clipception runs on a Mac. It's a lot more crowded because this is like how I developed the app. Was here. You can see all the different versions of the server, etc. But fundamentally, if we go into Mac version, then we have a working version of the app. So all we have to do here, though, we have to do two things. First thing we have to do is we have to deactivate. And then we have to go Conda. We'll have to use Conda conda activate LLM. Excuse me. Conda activate LLM. Then we're also going to have to install Pika. Pika. You know, we'll just get this environment set up real quick and then we'll run it. And I'll just move transcription.agent.py into this directory. So I'm just looking at these steps. Where's Pika? Pika. Is it just pip install Pika? Is that it? I think so. Okay, so I'm installing it. Okay, yeah, so I think all I have to do, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I made a big fuss about it, but I think all I have to do is just, now I go ls, and now I go copy multi-agent part 2, and I go to non-Mac version, excuse me, clipception, non-Mac version, and then I copy transcription agent, and I copy it here. Same thing. Clipception, non-Mac version, GPU clip, agent, here, ls. So now we should have transcription agent, and we should be ready to go. Let's run it. Let me make sure I have everything all set up. I see I don't have a config. Oh, I also need to put secrets on real quick. 1 second. I had to just move I had to put my environment key back in. I think we're ready to go, homies. Let's just run it and see what we get. So it's Python, it's just Python transcription agent, right? Because it's just starting the, you don't actually need the video right here. Here, let's run it. Yeah, so the config, I did just see that config file. So what is config? I was like just looking at it. I don't know what goes in config here. A new file to centralize. Is there a config.py? Let's see. So she didn't give me any information on config. And so I'm going to have to figure out what goes in here. Here, let's look and see where it's no. Import config. Please create it with RabbitMQ settings and QName. That's what I have to do. Who knows what though? Let's see. Action settings. Okay. So we know what some of this stuff is. Let's get this example in. I know that they're both guest and guest. Username and password by default. Let's do a couple things. Let's go to Rabbit for one. You can see how much experience I have using Rabbit. What? It's like 5672 or something. What port is Rabbit MQ on by default? So I want to open it up locally. It's like localhost. I don't know. We'll see. 5672. So should I go localhost 5672? No, didn't open. Maybe I'll just restart. Okay, here, let's do this. I mean, she didn't provide it, you know? Like sometimes she does that, right? Like you'll ask Jam or any of these girls. They'll give you some stuff, and just in case, it looks like she did a pretty good job creating the multi-agent setup, but she didn't tell me what to do with config. She just assumes that I had it already, and I don't know enough about this too. So here, let's see what she says. It looks like she made the same recommendation that Claudette just made. So okay, so she's gonna create that, and then we'll rerun. We'll rerun it. Make directory upload results. Why? I just wanted this. Oh, okay. How did she know about upload though? That seems like she's getting more information than I want. And I do have Redis open. Okay, this is interesting. All right, I don't know if I have to configure Redis to, because I already have a Redis instance actually in this directory, in this Flask app. Let's see. Should I just say yes? I don't know. Yes. Okay, so that was all she wanted to do, was create that folder. Let's rerun transcription. Oh, I lost my environment. With Pika Pika. That was a great name, huh? Pika for a library. It's like so you'll never forget it. All right, let's go Python transcription. Where the fuck? I'm not even in the right directory, homies. Let's go Flask app. Mac version, clear. And let's go Python transcription agent. So she has a config now. What do you mean? I just created a config. I don't see the config, do you? Maybe it was created at the root. Yeah. Module config has no attribute video queue. So why would she call video queue? Okay. Why? Oh, because it was in the... Yeah, I'll just re-add it. Yeah, so what happened was I had to move config. I could have done it a couple ways, but... There you go. She's adding it back. I need to see the transcription agent file. The error is occurring. So look, she just added it, which is what you would have done. So she needs to see. She's in a bad loop right now, dog. Here, let's just help her out. Let's go add. Oh, I see. Wait, she was even... Okay. What do you mean? There it is. Something's off, dog. Transcription agent is right there. So why? Yeah, we need to flush out. Okay, so let me see how to do this. So her repo map's all fucked up. And that's this is like the one thing I'll say with working with vibe coding is the environment tends to be kind of delicate. So if it gets out of whack, for example, in the case of IDER, if your repo map gets a little bit confused because you add or drop a file or you revert, you do have to reset it. So we're gonna do that. If I can figure it out. Bummer. And then we'll finally run this shit. We just had it running. Should we run it again? Since we have, we did add the config and it failed because that video queue. Here, let's see what we can do. The video queue. And we know that config doesn't have a video queue. Yeah, it doesn't. Let's see. She's struggling. I mean, we do need to reset the repo map. I mean, she did a lot of good work today. We should be very pleased with her. Because she did get that agent. As long as we can get him run, of course. It didn't look like she hallucinated, though. It looked good. Let's see. Let's go to... Let's vape first. Let's go to... Yeah, video queue. Video queue for input, transcription queue for output. Damn, that's dope. So the JSON will be in a queue and they'll be listening to that. Damn, that's such a better way to do it, dog. Like how I was doing it was in fact, like the original version that's published wasn't nearly as coherent as this. When a video would be transcribed, it would output the JSON to a file and then basically GPU clip would be listening to the directory to any changes. And then when it identified that this file exists, but this is much better. This is a much more clean setup. So you actually have data structures, right? A data structure for transcript. You would have to do this at scale, right? So you would have a data structure that would manage all the, anytime a transcription comes in, it would be labeled effectively. So you could actually listen for changes about a specific transcription. So anything at scale would have required some level of sophistication like this. Just as a GitHub repo that runs locally, of course, it works fine. Give me 1 second. Let me stretch for a sec. I'll be right back. Okay. So here's what we want to do, homies. We want to we got to create that video queue. But what I was doing was I was wanting to see if here, let's see something real quick. So we can just do it manually. We have to fix our repo map. I mean, we got a little bit of a mess here, to be fair. Because here's the problem. If you... Oh, I think I could fix it probably pretty easy. Like, look. This is where the IDER chat history is. Okay? And that's why the repo map's all fucked up. So if I just... Let me just answer this question right now. How do I clean out a repo map? Let's get rid of this music, too, because it's driving me nuts. Let's put on some Daft Punk. Okay, so here's how we're going to approach it.
The best way to try new games.
We're going to...
Rent it, love it, buy it at it.
Skip that. I also need to do this. Hold on. Okay, let's open up Claude. By the way, like, just as a matter of, like, let's say functionality or practicality, I don't really like Claude for generating... For example, when I'm writing my LinkedIn blogs, I always use Jippity for. I don't think that Claudette does a very good job on a lot of tasks. There's some things she does a good job on. For example, graphs, Mermaid, things like that. She's pretty competent at. She's good. Anthro is very good as a coding companion. But for writing, I think she's actually bad. I would say it's easier. It's better to not use her. Her writing is very bad. Okay. Let's do. How do I clear the IDER history? I know it's clear, but I ran it. It didn't seem to do anything. I could also just go to the IDER docs, right? Let's see. Usage. Prompt caching. Read-only files added with read. I'm not even sure what this is doing. God, DeepSeek sucks so bad. Oh, caching for the chat history. Okay, I want to do refresh. Yeah. Yeah, I don't use local models. I use via OpenRouter. I just want to clear. Let's see. There it is, map refresh. Reset. There we go. Okay, good. I don't know if that's a slash command. Can't speak. Okay, let's go into Mac version, and then we'll start IDER, and then we'll go reset. That was it. Okay, so let's restart it. And we should see... Yeah, but it didn't... That reset didn't work, dog. Because you would have seen it... Fuck. You would have seen, it would have said, basically, that it needs to start a Git history. And I still don't see transcription agent. What if I do... I go conduct, yeah. So I have the environment that I use for for the Flask app, and then I go Python transcription agent. I'm probably gonna get the configure. Yeah, so no config file, so we can add that in. Son of a bitch. Copy. I got it. Okay. Successfully connected to Rabbit, and that's the video queue problem. So now if we start IDER here, then we go add. Why isn't transcription agent there? So this is the file I want to add to the context window. It's like something with, damn it, man. I don't know why IDER gets, like, I don't know how to reset IDER. Like it's not unlimited. It should be like this. Oh, we got it. All right, great. So now we go ask. Now we go edit. Okay, see how that does. So we're trying to just get this config ready, and once the config's ready, we'll rerun it. Let's see if she can figure it out. See, I don't know where these I don't know where these paths are supposed to be. I do understand like the general structure of this with the agents, but implement above. I think you just go like this. I think you just go code. No. I'm getting better at vibe coding. It's taking me a second. What's it called? It definitely takes some getting used to. Vibing, you know? Okay. I think I'm gonna get the export. Well, here, let's just try. We don't need a. I was about to say I think I need to put secrets up again, but maybe not. Let's see. Let's go conda activate LLM. There's too many L's. Python transcription agent. It did it. There you go. The first agent is up. So then we start a second agent. Oh, dope. Hell yeah. Okay. Oh, this is so sick. So we're almost there. Okay, so damn, dude. I bet there's gonna be an error with the queue, but look, it connected to Rabbit. Rabbit is basically well, first of all, it's an interface, so we can see what's going on in each queue. But here's how the structure of this is supposed to look. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. But I can break it down as best pretty well, I think. So let's go back to this up. Then let's look at IDER history. I'm looking for a very specific file. I'm not seeing it. Oh, because it's in the parent. It's right here. Okay. Let's go transcription agent. Huh. She doesn't have all the history. Okay, so I think I remember what it said. Okay, here, let's keep grokking. Fuck all this noise. So we got to start 3 different terminals. Damn, I'm already stocked, but okay, whatever. Let's go to multi-agent 2, and then let's go to clipception. Let's go non-Mac version. Let's go conda activate. I know, conda. Let's go Python. GPU clip agent. Nope. That one doesn't run. Okay, so who cares about that error? Let's do this. Edit. Current problem. Running GPU clip agent results in did I copy it? Yeah. No, that's not the right one. That was so dumb. I just wrote conda activate GPU. Okay, so that's the error. Okay, so let me just talk about what's going on here and what have we done. So this is what I'm working on. So clipception exists. It's live. It's available. So for those of you who haven't seen it, clipception is clipception.xyz, okay? And it allows you to find your most viral moments from your stream. This is live, clipception.xyz, okay? There's associated GitHub for this. Right here, clipception. Okay? We're working out of this repo right now. And what I'm doing right now is I'm transitioning from the original setup for clipception to a multi-agent setup. So we're at each, so we have multiple agents now. So we have, instead of transcription pi, transcription agent. Instead of GPU clip, we have GPU clip agent. So it's basically a refactor into a multi-agent development setup. At each level, there is a level of intelligence. So when you're transcribing, we're using OpenAI Whisper. So we're injecting generative AI. At GPU clip, we're predicting the most viral clips, and we're dependent on the results from transcription.py, and we're injecting intelligence. That's what we're up to. So right now, I have one of the 2 prongs done, which is transcription agent. So that agent is listening. Now I'm trying to get I'm trying to get GPU clip working. Okay, so she needs access to it. Okay, now fuck that up, like usual. So we're up to. She's got, that's probably a linter error, which is not the end of the world. Let's see what happens. So I was trying to fix GPU clip agent. Indentation issue, huh? This is usually a linter error. Look at this. Look at Ida running. No, I don't like when she does linter errors, dog. She really sucks at doing it. Like, on fixing, like, linter errors, God, she's got to be the worst I've ever seen. Looks like she fixed it, though. Look at that. In Vegas said I'd never get proficient at putting up the secrets tab. What? I just did that. Shooting my own horn. Shooting my own horn too fast. Okay. Go, baby, go! What do you mean? I just did it. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Gosh, I hate doing what I hate. You know, I hate anything with API keys on stream. It's always such a bummer. Because sometimes a lot of times I have to just leave whatever is on the screen. Let's go open folder. So I'm just trying to fix this little thingy. Because that's okay. I got it. Secrets one last time. Oh, I think I know the best way to do this. Here, watch. We're just gonna rename it. So it's exported, the key. It's just called something different. Slow down. Damn, this music sucks so bad. I gotta change it. Something a little bit more upbeat. So I just need to, the task is... just put something a little bit more upbeat, you know? Oh, it is the same name. I thought I had named the key wrong. I thought I just confirmed that. God damn it. Yeah, open router. Open. See, there's no space. Got it. So there's like a space. I don't know why these O's got... Let's let that go. See, there's a space. And so that's how it's exported. Oh my god, these fucking linter errors. No. So I even fucked up though, dog. We gotta run that run back one more time.
Thinking about grad school? UMGC is waiving their application fee through May 30th. Low-cost tuition, 100% online.
It's just one line. I guess I could just write. It's on GPU game. Okay, Jesus Christ, it took way too long. You gotta be kidding me. Fuck. All right, homies, I got a jet. I'm gonna fuck with these keys offline. I hate when I get stuck on key type stuff. Tomorrow's my last day of streaming before I leave to Japan. So I'll be on tomorrow for normal time, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. to like 3 p.m. or whatever. Normal, no difference. And then heading out to Japan on Tuesday. But we'll hopefully tomorrow we'll finish this because we have the agent running. I just have key problems and I hate doing key stuff on stream. It drives me nuts. But we've got the transcription agent, so all we have to do is get the GPU clip agent up, and then we're done. We just have to, test it or whatever. But that's it. So I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna fix that up, and then I just don't want to deal with keys on stream. It drives me nuts. It's so upsetting. Oh, yeah. Peace out, Digital. Thanks for hanging out today. It was fun. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Good luck on everything you got.